Hello, folks, and welcome to Once in a Blue Moon Radio, where we talk about the hottest topics once in a blue moon. We are your hosts, Nyala Brownlee and Christy Bajani. Today's topic relates to the severity of sentences and incarceration lengths. No, not that same old life sentence, death penalty reports, but something that's been brought up a bunch of times but has never been talked about in the right sort of way. Folks, now, have you ever noticed that men and women tend to get in different incarceration times? Of course, that's a rhetorical question, because we won't hear you when you answer. But think about it. It's a known fact that women tend to get lighter sentence penalties and incarceration lengths than men, even when dealing with the same offenses. Why is that? Rhetorical question again. We are here to try to give you insight on why that happens. We're going to focus on the neuroscientific reason behind the differences of incarcerated women and men and how these contrasts reflect on the different amounts of years sentenced for each gender group. So, stress, social standing, hierarchy, brain structures, and a whole bunch of other things may play a role in this. So here we have Christy, who's going to present a few cases and document occurrences and studies that explain the possibility of why it works out this way. But be aware, she's not stating that men or women should get or should not get different incarceration times.
According to Amy Feddick, a senior staff counsel at the American Civil Liberties Union's National Prison Project, the federal prison population has grown to 219,000 people. For those who don't know, this is an increase of 27% over the last decade.
27%? Wow, that's a lot.
There are many reasons for this gender difference in incarceration. Essentially, women face a variety of issues that male inmates don't, including pregnancy and higher rates of mental health issues. According to Feddick, women often have a higher rate of mental illness because many have experienced sexual and physical abuse starting as early as children. That's one reason why many incarcerated women are vulnerable to re-victimization.
When we had interviewed a few people on what their thoughts were about this, re-victimization was not one that they had even thought about. The fact that you get less time because people are afraid that you're going to be re-victimized is kind of wonky, I know, because you're in prison in the first place because you had victimized somebody.
The pregnancy rates were becoming an issue, so much that doctors under contract with the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation sterilized nearly 150 female inmates from 2006 to 2010 without required state approvals, according to the Center for Investigative Reporting. This fact is just one piece of evidence which shows that women are more of a liability to the government due to their reproductive role in society. Women have more needs than men do, and freeing women faster from jail helps the government save money.
The government again? Doesn't the government always affect how things work out in society? Sorry for the interruption. I just had to share that thought. Continue, Christy. What else do you have for us?
The incarceration time difference for each gender group is very different. For women in state prison, the average maximum sentence length is only 9 years, while it's 13 years for men.
Is it? A lot of people don't think so.
This may not sound that different to you, but with cases such as murder, you can make a drastic inference. The time sentences regarding murder shows an average sentence of 25 years for women compared to 32 years for men.
Okay, you have us now. That does seem like a big difference, not what you said. But why is this so? What's the reason?
A reason for this difference in time sentence, aside from a woman's physiological needs, is the re-victimization aspect of a woman committing a crime. The less time a woman spends in prison, the less she will become vulnerable to feel re-victimized and end up in jail again, only to re-become a liability for the government. It has become clear by now that there has been a great increase in women being incarcerated in the U.S. Yet, interestingly, the amount of men in state and federal prisons has dramatically grown more than women. The reason why this is because men have a greater history with violence than women do. Beck and Momoa prove this as they state in their article called Health Issues Specific to Incarcerated Women.
Speaking of fight or flight, let's have a Brain fact, people! Neuroscientists use fMRIs to scan subjects' brain, so they have been capable of demonstrating how brains are affected under stress. In men, increased blood flows to the left of the prefrontal cortex, suggesting the activation of a fight or flight response. In women, however, stress activated to the limbic part of the brain, and that's associated with an emotional response. This research also shows that the changes in brain of women during stress response last longer in women. Brain fact over. Back to Christy.
In 1991, 25% of incarcerated women were violent recidivists compared with 50% of incarcerated men. Because violence is more popular amongst men than women, the amount of order needed in prisons can be too much for the government to control. It also used to be popular for men and women to be raped. Furthermore, according to Mail Online, more men were raped in the U.S. than women before the Prison Rape Elimination Act was established. This all just comes to show that the different rates of change of women and men incarceration is based on the correctional systems along with the government. Amy Feddick was right when she said, "Too often, people do not receive the type of treatment they need in prison."
It seems that rather than responding to a fight or flight fashion when threatened, fearful or stressed, women may have more often tended to befriend. Women are more likely to protect and nurture their children and turn to family and friends for solace when they are stressed. That's what Dr. Klein of Penn State College of the Health and Human Development says. And this relates back to what Christy says earlier about women being nurturers and caregivers. We're still talking about incarcerated women here, of course.
Wow, look at the time. It's past 3 minutes. So we're going to leave you with this. Think about it, research it, and we hope to see you next time at the Once in the Blue Moon radio.
We'll see you next week, or as we say in German, Auf Wiedersehen.